Hi, I'm Vinny, and this is Wednesday Wisdom. This is a weekly show where we take time out of our busy schedules to reach out to people who might be really depressed, really stressed out, or just stuck in a rut and need extra motivation. Now, before we go any further, I want to give you guys an opportunity to hit the subscribe button and ring that bell to be notified so you never miss another episode of Wednesday Wisdom as well as other additional content. Now, my motivation for this week, my words of wisdom that I'll bestow upon you is simple. Dear weekend, come back, I'm not done with you yet. You see, everyone loves weekends. You can stay at home, snuggle with your pet, read a book, or watch a show. Or you can go out and have fun with your friends. There's a sense of freedom and possibility that comes with the weekend. The only problem is the weekends go by so quickly. 1 minute it's Friday and you're leaving work and school, and the next, boom, it's Monday morning and you're back at your desk. Your weekends are precious and you need to make the most of them. You've probably worked all week with one target in mind, getting to the weekend and then doing something useful with it. Yet often when you actually reach the weekend, it tends to fizzle out and not quite live up to your expectations. So I have a few tips that should help you with making plans and sticking to them. Number 1, make plans. Decide during the week exactly what it is you're aiming to do at the weekend. Jot everything down so you know what your weekend plan is well in advance. This doesn't mean you can't allow for a bit of spontaneity here and there, but in the main, you should know what it is you want to get out of your weekends. If you don't have any plans, you will very often end up doing nothing. This is something I do all the time. I have certain things that I have to do outside of work, and I use the weekend to get it done. I plan them out as much as possible so I can utilize every aspect of my weekend, whether it's performing, recording, editing, doing laundry, or playing D&D. I organize my weekend as best I can. Number 2, set yourself a challenge. Falling into a routine can often lead to feelings of boredom. So why not use your weekend to try a new challenge? Whether it's working out, spending more time with family and friends, or learning a new skill. Just try something different. That way, your weekend won't be boring. And that should be the key to a weekend. The weekdays are already boring enough. Don't allow the weekend to be the same way. That will really make you miserable. Number 3, get outdoors. Admittedly, the weather is not always on our side, but if you're prepared for whatever the elements might throw at you, then you shouldn't be too concerned about getting out into the fresh air. Simply get outdoors and go for a walk, run, hike, cycle, or anything else you can think of. It's amazing how getting a bit of exercise and fresh air will leave you energized, and if you share the experience with others, then that's an added bonus. Now, recently it's been cold as balls outside lately, so I can tell you right now I haven't been going outside. But with the warm weather on the horizon, this is the perfect time to start doing this. Now, I know personally, my dad goes on a hiking trail while walking the dog, and he enjoys it. He's been trying to get me to do it for a while, but I've had other stuff going on. But who knows? Maybe when the weather gets nicer, I might actually start doing it. Number 4, avoid drinking too much alcohol. Now, there's no denying that most of us enjoy a drink, and the temptation when we reach Friday night is often to have a few too many. However, the next day, you'll probably feel a bit off color and spend most of the day in bed or nursing a hangover. And so the day will pass without you having done anything. Our advice is therefore to take it easy when you're drinking. A little alcohol can help you to relax on the weekend, but don't let it rule your time off. So once again, let me be clear. I am not saying don't drink on the weekends, unless you're a recovering alcoholic, in which case stay the hell away from that. But if you're someone that has control over their liquor, drink just enough so you can unwind from the stress of the week. And try to limit it to just Friday. That way you can enjoy Saturday, and any work you have to get done, you can save it for Sunday. Because nobody does much on Sunday except go to church or watch football. Number 5, allow some you time. Rushing around and filling your time with all sorts of activities can be great fun, but will also be tiring. You may even feel at some point as though you've overdone it, and being constantly surrounded by activity and people can certainly take its toll on you, both mentally and physically. So try to set some time aside for yourself when you can indulge yourself in a book, listen to some music, or just chill out. This is something I try to do as often as possible, mostly because people love to bug me with things that I care absolutely nothing about. That's why you've heard me do complaints about long phone calls and mooching friends and rude customers and bosses, because there's so many times in our lives where we are surrounded by people. Now, if you're a people person, this type of thing might not bother you. But if you're antisocial like myself, then being around people for too long can be a problem. That's why at least one of my weekend days I spend by myself. It allows me to recharge and preserve my mental health. Sometimes I even temporarily mute and or block people from social media and my phone just so I can get some peace and quiet. Number 6, allow yourself some catch-up time. Weekends are about having fun, but can also be a good time to catch up on those things that have been chipping away at you for some time. Make use of your weekend by fitting some of those activities in, whether they are DIY jobs that you've been putting off or financial issues that you need to sort out. Actually getting down to it will make you feel better, as you'll feel as though you've achieved something during your weekend. Now, this is usually the time that I spend working on my podcast and YouTube videos. I have a studio in my house. I just lock myself in there and catch up on all my work. Number 7, put some things off. There are some things that can be done at any time, not just at the weekend. If you arrange your time in the week sufficiently well, for example, by doing some small jobs during your lunch times, then that should leave plenty of time at the weekend to do the things you really want to do. Doing a bit of a job every day or night of the week can prevent you having to do it during your precious weekend. This is something that I try to do as much as possible. Sometimes there are aspects of my podcast that I can do during the week, and there are even some YouTube videos that I can work on during the week as well. The day I most often pick is Monday, usually because there's nothing else going on in my day except going to work. So this is a perfect day for me to work on certain projects. That way I can use my weekend for either other projects that aren't easy to manage or for having fun. Number 8, avoid routine. Our lives sometimes get in a rut, and we do the same old things week in, week out. Often this is because our jobs force us into these routines. But at the weekend, you will have time to break them. Jolt yourself into a whole new weekend frame of mind by trying something different, taking up invitations, and avoiding the thoughts of what you usually do on a Saturday or Sunday. Now, this is easier said than done. Another way to do this is if you usually binge watch Netflix. Watch a show that your friends and family keep recommending to you as a way to break the tradition. For example, my buddy Elvis has been on my case about watching Black Mirror, and my friend Desmond is on my case about watching The Mandalorian on Disney+. So anytime I have an opening on my weekend and I want something different, I take that into consideration. Now, I'll be honest. So far, I've only watched one episode of Black Mirror, and I still can't get the vision of that episode out of my head, but I am almost done with the first season of The Mandalorian, which may sound weird to those of you who have already finished both, but these shows aren't shows I'm trying to rush through. Number 9, find a new hobby. Getting a new hobby can help you fulfill some of the other tips that I'm mentioning here. If you join a club, it's likely you'll have set plans most weekends and will have new friends to meet. Plus, your activity could well be outdoors. It will also help to break up a dull routine and will give you something to look forward to. Alternatively, your new hobby could be something that you enjoy doing by yourself and could be the time out that you need in your weekend. In my case, that new hobby became Dungeons and Dragons. Now, when I was a kid, I had friends who tried to convince me to play this game, but I never did because at the time, I thought it was stupid. Now, I actually enjoy it because of the role-playing aspect, which is no different than acting in movies and TV shows, which I do a lot from time to time. So now, at least once a week, on the weekends, I play D&D. Not only that, but every week we play a different campaign, so it never feels routine. Sometimes we have different friends with different campaigns who want to be the DM or the dungeon master, so it breaks up the monotony. Number 10, get sporty. Admittedly, not everyone will be able to carry their legs around a football field for 90 minutes on a Sunday morning. But if you can do a little physical activity, you will feel good and get good health benefits. Alternatively, you can get outdoors and watch the sport firsthand rather than watching it on TV. The weekend is when most sporting activities take place. So why not get out of the house and see a game of football, or rugby, or basketball, or another sport? It may even inspire you to start playing the sport yourself. Now, to be honest, this piece of advice is for any kids that happen to be watching this. Because most adults are not going to get into playing sports unless you're already in an adult league somewhere. As a kid, I used to play football and basketball with my friends. Today, I doubt any of us will be doing any of that, nor would we want to. But if a friend of mine or a really hot chick wanted to see a football or basketball game, I'd be happy to go with them. Otherwise, the only sporting event you'll see me at is WWE. At the end of the day, the important thing is to enjoy your weekend and never take it for granted. That way, when you go back to work or school on Monday, you don't find yourself wishing it was still the weekend. Instead, you'll be excited preparing for the next one. And that, ladies and gentlemen, will wrap up Wednesday Wisdom for this week. I thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button and ring that bell to be notified so you never miss another episode of Wednesday Wisdom as well as other additional content. Check back soon for a new episode. Until then, stay social.